Alrighty, it's Tori Henderson. I am here on day 3 of the Sanity Challenge. I hope you are all doing well, staying healthy, staying sane. I had another little mini meltdown yesterday. I think I got cabin fever. I'm on day 12 of lockdown, and so it's been interesting. I've been doing fine, but I definitely had my moment yesterday afternoon. So I'm back. I always feel better. You know, it's just good to watch and like notice like what makes you feel better, what makes you feel worse, and just kind of get to know yourself during this new normal. So day 1, we talked about creating a schedule and the resistance and obstacles that come up with that. We talked about the resistance monster and getting to know it, building a relationship with it. Day 2, we talked about getting moving your body, how important it is physically, mentally, emotionally, the whole shebang benefits, the family benefits when mom stays active. And yet, resistance comes up for that too. So we wanted to find movement activities that spark joy, that make you feel, like give you a little burst of energy. So I posted my silly video. I was hoping other people would too. I talked to a client who said, I took a video, but I haven't posted it yet. Like we're all kind of a little embarrassed to do it. So I hope you guys do it so that I don't feel like I'm the only one. Today's day 3, we're talking about letting go of perfectionism. Now the problem with perfectionism is most of us don't think we're perfectionists. We're like, well, my house is not perfectly spotless, Tori, and my children are not being perfectly behaved, so clearly I'm not a perfectionist. But the way that I see it is kind of a black and white thinking. And so let me give you a little description. Yesterday, I'm coaching a client who's got a teenager at home. Now, those of you who have a teenager at home will relate to this. This is something that we talk about quite often, is that parents who struggle with their teens, who are having a hard time, wishing they would act differently, do different things, make different choices, wear different outfits, say different things to their siblings. When we're like struggling with our teenager, it's very often because we have expectations that are a little perfectionistic. If you went into adolescence with the idea that this is going to be messy and ugly and it's not going to go well at all, then you end up being kind of pleasantly surprised. So like if you were kind of a bit of a disaster as a teenager, and then your teenager is like not as bad, you're like, this is good, I got this. But what happens to, and a lot of times like dads are better about that, right? Because dads don't tend to identify with their teenager in the same way as moms do. Moms see teenagers as a reflection of us. We're like, am I a good mom or not? It depends on how my teenager behaves. And so what I did with my client yesterday, which I've done quite a few times, is we listed all the ways in which a teenager should act. We all have this like invisible manual for how other people should behave. And if you've got younger children, you have it for them too. It's just not quite as poignant and painful yet. So in our manual, we have this idea of, if I was a good mom, then I would have children who behave this way. And it's, for little kids, it's usually they should obey me. They should listen to me when I talk to them. They should clean up their rooms when I say it. They shouldn't fight with their sibling. They should, and we have all these kind of expectations. For a teenager, it goes bigger. They should get good grades in school. They should be socially adept. They should engage with their friends on social media and the phone, but not too much. They should be athletic and, you know, want to join things in live and in person, not just online. They shouldn't play too many video games. They should clean up after themselves. They should take school seriously. Like we've got this list. Like if my child was doing all of these things, then I can believe I am a good enough mother. And so this is what perfectionism looks like, okay? So we don't even realize that we have this manual of like a good child would behave this way. And we have one for ourselves too. A good mother would have children who follow this manual, but we also think thoughts like a good mom would be able to keep a clean house. A good mom should be able to do this homeschooling thing easily and effortlessly. A good mom would read to her children every day. If I was a good mom, I would have healthy, well-balanced meals prepared for my family every night. If I was a good, and it just goes on and on and on. If I was a good mom, I would be balanced. I would be exercising. I would be healthy and fit. I wouldn't watch too much TV, and my kids wouldn't watch too much TV. We just can get really perfectionistic. So the first step in letting go of perfectionism is to recognize that you have created a prison for yourself that is very rigid. Especially with this shelter in place, coronavirus stuff, is that like if you already have a tendency towards perfectionism, this is just gonna ramp it up because the expectations have gone up now. So it's like, oh, I expect myself to maintain the same quality of work that I was doing at my job offsite before. I should be able to maintain that exact quality of work at home while also having children around, while also trying to homeschool them and do what the teachers want them to do. And so this creates a little prison for yourself where no matter what you do, you feel like you're not doing enough. So for those of you who struggle with this idea that I'm not doing enough, chances are there's some perfectionism at the root cause. It's the expectation that I should be doing everything and everything well. The problem is that those thoughts and that tendency towards perfectionism gets exhausting. If you haven't noticed, it's impossible to live up to our standards, and our kids are never perfect, and we never achieve perfection, even though we kind of want to in our hearts. Like, I get it. I get the desire to be perfect. Just doesn't happen. And so what happens is we always end up feeling defeated. We always feel like I'm inadequate, I'm not enough, and guess what? That drains your energy. So if we want to boost our energy, we've got to change our expectations for ourselves and our children, and especially during this quarantine for the coronavirus. We've got the expectations for homeschooling. Oh my gosh, we don't have to just like cut corners. We need to slash and burn some of these expectations, all right? So I know that seems scary to a lot of us who want to hold on to the idea that I can do it all and I can do it all well, but I just want you to look at what is that thinking costing you. Really look at how that exhausting it is, how draining it is, how it puts you in a constant conflict with your kids. It feels like they're never doing enough, then no matter what they do. Because here's the thing, if you have that belief system, like, I'm not doing enough, my kids should be doing better, and they're not, and it's just kind of both ways. Let's say one day they don't play 8 hours of video games. They're doing something creative in their bedroom, or they're practicing their music, or something that your brain's like, oh yeah, that's a good thing to do. Then the next day, they're back to playing video games. And it's not like you're like, oh, my child is healthy and balanced now, and she has, interests that are nourishing her soul. We go right back into not enough, not enough, not enough. We're like, she should be cleaning up after herself. But she cleans a room. You're like, oh, great, she cleaned a room. And then the next day, it's like, it's messy again. So it just keeps you trained to look for the things that she's not doing, or that your son's not doing, or that you're not doing, or your husband's not doing. When you say, like, I'm not doing enough, they're not doing enough, that's all you can see. You can't see the moments and the times when everybody's doing great. Things are fine. Beautiful, wonderful. We just like, oh yeah, that doesn't resonate with our worldview, and so we disregard it or diminish it, okay? But I want you to think for a minute. Where are you when you get your best ideas? What is it you're doing when you get like this spark and you're like, oh, that sounds like fun. I'd like to do that. Or that would be great. Like for me, it's always the shower or the hot tub. Sometimes I can't even go. I love having a hot tub during coronavirus. Oh my God, I'm in it every day. But sometimes the idea machine just gets going so much in there that I gotta get out and put it to action. So walking, if I'm not listening to somebody else's ideas, like a podcast or a book or something, or talking on the phone, if I'm just walking by myself, I'll get these ideas, these moments of inspiration. And I feel like that's when our higher self can communicate with us. When we have this kind of, we're doing something, but nothing that engages our brain. It's like when we create idle time for our brain to just some open space, that's when our ideas can come through. That's where creativity sparks. That's when we have access to our higher part of our brain, of like what we want to create in this lifetime, what would be wonderful. That's when we can dream. That's when we can tap into more than just the daily grind and surviving the day. All right. So we've got to create some time in our day for this white space so that we can access our higher selves, our creativity, our patience. The patience goes out the window if you don't create this white space. And creating the white space, openness, where your brain can just process and relax and, you know, get its good ideas, I think comes from some strategic slacking off. So I want you to think about, where in your day can you let go of perfectionism? What can you strategically decide and choose ahead of time that you're not going to stress about, not going to worry about, not going to beat yourself up for? Maybe it's the house is just going to get messy. Coronavirus, house cleaners aren't allowed to come in because they bring their germs. So maybe we're just going to like live in a messy house, and that's okay. Or maybe you're going to just not do this homeschooling stuff. You're going to let the kids not unschooling. We're going to let them educate themselves. Whatever they are interested in and drawn towards, they can pursue that. I love the idea that this little coronavirus is going to be like a mini renaissance for kids, where they get to access their creativity because suddenly they've got some white space. They've got some openness. They get to choose what they want to learn, what they want to study, what they want to read about, if they want to do art or music, or what video games they want to play, who and how they want to connect with others online. Like, it's the first time we've removed so many expectations from them. Let's just see what happens when they get their white space. So I say letting go of the perfectionistic expectations of score if that feels delicious to you. Okay, if you love having the homeschooling and that structure, and your kids are thriving with it, and they're just getting up and doing their thing every day, and you're like, oh, this is great, I like this, then keep it. Don't cut that corner. So my suggestion is to write down everything you do in a day: dishes, laundry, work, homeschool, you know, take the kids outside to go for walks, walk the dogs, whatever, everything you do. And then look back at it with this critical eye and say, where can I strategically slack off? Where can I cut corners? And where can I half-ass it? Because that's setting up a new expectation for ourselves, one that's achievable. And then when you do it, when you let go of it, you know, say, I'm not gonna beat myself up for not exercising. Okay, let's start with not beating ourselves up. Can we all agree, for anything, I'm gonna just start with not beating myself up? And that if the house is messy, it's messy. If the kids are on screens too long, they're on screens too long. If I don't work out, I don't work out. If I eat too many cookies, I eat too many cookies. Like, what? Let's just all agree to start with letting go of that one, okay? That no matter what I do during a global pandemic, it's the right thing to do, because there are no rules. That's what's so crazy about this. There are no rules for how to live through this shelter in place. This could go on. And so I'm giving you a rule. The rule is no beating yourself up. Let's just try it. Sample it. See what you can let go of. Let the kids keep their rooms messy, or let them clean it their way. Let your husband take over, you know, bath time or cooking, and not tell him he's doing it wrong. Let the kids cook. Let them make a mess in the kitchen, and give yourself permission to slack off around that and just say, you know, I'm going to let them figure this out. Okay, that's the challenge for today, is to realign your expectations with reality. But I want you to post in the Facebook group, if you're willing and able, to post where you plan to let go and slack off. What are you going to give yourself permission to not do, not care about, not beat yourself up for, and plan ahead of time to slack off. All right, that is the challenge for day 3. Hope to see you tomorrow, our last day. And oh, I realized I forgot to put the link in there. If anybody wants a coaching session, just like a single session, that just to kind of get you out of the doldrums and feeling good again, feeling alive and like on purpose, I will put the link in this one. I'll put it on the Facebook group because I forgot yesterday. All right, take care.